Hello there and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullsht. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So this is take two. I started recording this earlier, and I like to record the video on my phone. It has a better camera quality than my web camera on my computer. And my phone was 5 minutes into the recording, my phone was like, nope, sorry, you maxed out storage. So I spent the last 20 minutes clearing some storage, making it sure it was on the iCloud, all the things, all the technical things to be able to come back. So here I am coming back and still in a place of clarity. So today's episode, we're going to talk about taking action from a space of clarity as opposed to from a space of mindlessness. So in the past, I have gotten stuck in my head, and that was the previous podcast episode. Those of you watching on YouTube, I apologize. It's been about a week since you all have gotten a new video, and that is due to technical difficulties. I tried to upload the last two episodes to YouTube, and they have been pending upload for the last week. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's happening. I tried it a whole bunch of different ways and it just didn't work. So the previous episode, we talked about being able to get out of your head. And we're going to take it a little step further here and making sure that we take action based in clarity as opposed to mindlessness. So when you take an action that is mindless, you simply do more of what you know. And so that's where you can end up driving to work and having no idea how you actually got there. That's how you can get to the end of the year and go, holy crap, I did nothing this year, right? Like I accomplished nothing, right? That is mindlessness. That's not actively engaged. It's certainly not intentional. And so the purpose of this is to teach you how to get intentional and to take action in a state of clarity so that you can actually increase your impact in whatever area of life that it is, right? And maybe you're not an entrepreneur and you're like, Steph, I don't really need to increase my impact. You're right. Maybe you don't need to increase your impact on social media, but you do want to make sure that people are paying attention to you, right? Whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse, you want to make sure that you're engaged in those conversations and present. And that's the key here. When you are present, people can feel that. They notice it as opposed to you just going through the motions. Okay. So when it comes to taking action from clarity, for me, I sat down to record this podcast a couple of times already today, and we're just going to be real life here. Hey, children, turn that down, please. A lot. I can hear it perfectly up here. Thank you. Okay, this is real life. This is where we're at. Literally told them I was recording a podcast, but it's fine. So when it comes to, I apologize if that was in your ear. I should have muted it. I'm real sorry about that. So when it comes to, because I don't edit these, so you're just kind of stuck with that. When it comes to taking action out of a space of clarity, one, the very first thing you want to do is figure out where it is that you're going. Why are you taking this action? For what purpose? And I sat down to record this episode several times already today, and none of them felt right. Now, sometimes I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wing it. Whatever comes through, comes through. But every time I came up to sit down, I was like, no, it's not sitting right. And so I stepped aside, did some journaling, got some clarity on today's topic, which ironically enough is clarity in your actions. And so that's what we're going to dive into even more here. So again, when you take action out of mindlessness, you're simply going to get more of the same results. And so if you are looking for life to change, things to get better, things to be different, then you actually have to actively engage your brain prior to action. Okay? As I mentioned before, this is how you end up driving to work and having no idea that you got there, how you got there, right? Not remember any of it because you were just going through the motions. And I'll be honest, I've spent I spent a couple of years just kind of going through the motions in survival mode. I remember when my husband and myself and my two kids, my older two kids, we moved back from Sicily, and my husband was thrown into deployment cycles almost immediately. And he was gone a lot in the first year, and I was in survival mode. And there was a lot of mindlessness happening. My nervous system was totally shot. I was just going through the motions because I was in survival mode. And I don't love being in that space. It happens sometimes, and I'll catch myself and come back to being intentional, but sometimes I do get caught in that space. I know I was in that space a couple weeks ago, and I was very much in my head, and that was part of the last episode, was just trying to come back to being present, being intentional, and again, taking action from a space of clarity. Now, why is this important? Why does it matter? Right? I can hear my previous professor saying, that's cool, why does it matter? Why do we want to take action from a space of clarity? Well, when you take action from a space of clarity, you can actually get to the place that you want to go. Right? Now, you have to know where you want to go in order to have clarity in your actions. It's not a chicken before the egg kind of thing. It's very much you have to know where you're going in order to know what actions will take you there. So this is step one. I have a 30-day program that I am in launch mode for. It starts on July 30th, and it is called Recalibrate. And it's get clear, get confident, get consistent. And it is about creating more intentionality in your life so you can actually get to where you want to go. Because I don't want you to come to the end of the year and go, well, I had all of these plans and I don't know what happened. Because we can get caught in the survival mode, I just want to hurry up and get to this point, and you don't actually enjoy any of the process along the way. And I did catch myself doing this a couple weeks ago because we're finally getting ready to put our pool in. They're showing up next Monday. I'm recording this on Wednesday. So they're showing up on Monday, the 14th of July, and they're going to put a big old hole in my backyard. And I found myself being like, I just want to hurry up and have it happen, hurry up and have it happen, hurry up and have it happen, that I was actually disconnecting from the moment to moment and not being intentional about it. And I didn't like it. I was like, I gotta take a step back. I've got to actually be present leading up to that point. Because yes, I am super excited about the pool going in. Finally, after years of talking about it, we're doing it. We're not pulling the plug. What's the word I want? I don't even know the word now. Nevertheless, we've committed to it. We've decided, and it's happening. And we're very excited about it. Very excited for it to be here. But I felt myself rushing through the days in order to get there, and I was just disconnecting, and I didn't love it. And so I had to step back and get some more clarity. Yes, I'm very excited about the pool, but I don't want to lose all of those days leading up to the pool simply because that's the thing that I'm excited about, right? And so I had to step back and reevaluate, recalibrate, and say, okay, what are we being clear on? Well, we're being very clear that we're excited about this pool, right? But also, I want my business to grow in the meantime. And so what kind of actions can I take in clarity to do that? And one of the very first things I was pulled to was to reach out to a previous mentor and start to get some support in order to continue to move in that direction. And so I knew, okay, here's what I really want, because I sat down, journaled with it, sat with myself in uncomfortableness and journaled through it and said, okay, here's really what I want. And now each time I feel kind of a little niggle, a little discomfort come up, I don't look at all of them because some of them don't need to be looked at, but I do look at them and go, okay, why, what's happening there? Like when I sat down today to record a podcast earlier, and I sat down and I was like, nope, it doesn't feel right. Whatever was going to come through in that moment didn't feel right. And so I had to come back. And so you want to be able to take that action out of a space of clarity. What is your intention behind this action? Why are you doing it? right? And for me, why am I recording this podcast? Because I love recording this podcast, and I know that someone's going to hear it and it's going to benefit them in some way, shape, or form, whether or not they ever reach out to me and acknowledge it. I know that somebody's going to benefit from this podcast. And that is my intention every time I sit down, is to have a conversation with you in a way that will maybe shift your thoughts, shift something that's going on, to get you to move in the direction that you really want to take, that you really want to be in, right? That is my intention every time I sit down, is, okay, what was something that worked for me this week? How can I share it? What is a shift that worked for me this week? How can I share it? That is my intention every time I sit down. And so I want to make sure that I'm clear on that intention before I show up in this space, because you'll feel it. You know, when I show up here and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm not even sure where I'm going. Like, what's the purpose behind all of this? What is the intention, right? That's a very different energy. And I'm sure you guys have felt it before, and I apologize. Sometimes that happens, right? I am human. Does happen sometimes, right? But when I show up in a space where I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to talk about. Here's the shift that I want people to have. And it's very clear it comes through that way. And I love that. And so I want to keep today shorter than previous episodes. I usually try to stay around 10-15 minutes anyways. But I really want you to consider, before you take an action, how do you actually want to respond? And this is something that I really dug into over the last few months as I was going through the process of getting the approval for our pool. It was very arduous, it was very annoying. But every time I went to pick up the phone and call somebody, or I headed down to City Hall to talk about the permits, or whatever phase it was in, before I took any of those actions, I always said to myself, how would I respond if this were all working out in my favor? And it would shift me immediately from the panic or the annoyance of whatever I had going on. And I would go, you know what? Whatever happens here, I want to respond in a way in which I would have responded if it were all working out in my favor. And it gave me so much more patience through the process. Yeah, there were times where I was mad and I wanted to break things, right? I never said cruel or mean things to people, right? But there were emotions coming through of frustration and anger, and I never took them out on somebody else. It was the pillow for that, or the bed, right? But it's just interesting, because now I can look back and say, you know what? There is no part of that process where I feel like I could have done something differently, or I should have done something differently, because I showed up with the clear intention that no matter what happened with a conversation with one of the city employees, whatever, that I was going to respond in a way in which I would have responded if it were all working out in my favor. And I feel great about that. There's no regret. There's no, oh shoot, I have to bring somebody cookies and apologize kind of thing, right? So I do want to encourage you to seek clarity before you take an action, because you cannot take those words back. And sometimes you have to walk away from a situation until you get clarity on what's actually going on. Prime example, I got frustrated this morning. I was bringing something to my husband, and he very quickly just shot me down and said no. And I got pissed, and I walked away, and I was like, I don't even want to talk to you. Like, I legitimately don't want to talk to you. I wouldn't even make eye contact with him. I walked through the living room later, like 15 minutes later, and he started to talk to me, and I said, no, I'm not speaking to you. I'm very mad at you right now. I don't want to talk to you. And I had a bunch of things that I had to do, but I was like, I'm not in the headspace for this. And so I sat down and journaled, and what was really going on was, when I was bringing a concern to him, I felt like I hadn't been heard. And I didn't realize that in the moment until I sat with it and was like, okay, that's the thing. So let me bring this back to him in a different space and say, okay, hey, like, I felt like you didn't hear what I said, and that's what got me really upset. Because I was trying to say something to you and I felt like you weren't listening at all. And he was like, oh, okay, well then let's move through that, right? But I was very clear prior to that action. I knew what had happened after I sat with it, and then I came back to it. And now it's diffused and it's gone, and it's, it's not going to be one of those things that I keep score about and later on down the road bring up and be like, this was the time, right? Like, nobody loves that. Nobody loves that. So I really want to, again, encourage you to take a step back, move a little bit slower through your day so that you can have clarity on your actions, because those will be the most impactful ones. And if you are interested in this Recalibrate program, we start July 30th. It is going to be a 30-day program. It is $999. There is a VIP option where you can get private support. If you don't want private support, that's cool too. There'll be 2 group calls and then Voxer support. And the purpose of this is to help you get very clear on where it is that you want to go. What actions do you need to take? Become confident in those actions and become consistent in your being. And when you are able to do that, God, you can move mountains. I don't have the faith to move a mountain because that feels way too big for me, but I have a faith for a whole lot of other things. And I am so excited about this program. I haven't launched a group program in a while. And so Recalibrate, you can always message me, comment below, reach out to me on Instagram, or email me through my website to reach out, and I will send you the link. We can get signed up. And again, we do start July 30th will be our first group call, and this will be a group program, 30 days. I am capping it between 8 and 11 people because I do want it to stay intimate and I want to have that space. And this was something that I was talking to my mentor about the other day. I want to make sure that it's a space where we can all connect privately, personally, together on this and create clarity and confidence for consistency. So I'm sending you so much love. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.